We're on to week 5 in the NFL, but before we get there, let's go back and reflect on week 4 with some power rankings. What's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo. Just in case you did not know so, go ahead, become bro and subscribe and leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content as always. Let me know what you think in the comment section below where we have that nice, beautiful football discourse. If you're unfamiliar with how I do power rankings here on the channel, I separate it into 5 tiers, with the top tier being Super Bowl contenders. Then we got playoff teams as a tier, teams that I am for certain are making the playoffs. We have playoff contenders, bit of a broad term there, teams that I think are going to be in the running for it. And then an interesting tier right below here called could be, but unlikely. Maybe a team that could surprise and make the playoffs, but for the most part, I just think they're bad. And then we have bottom of the league teams that are, well, in fact, bad. Let's go ahead and get this started with the bottom, of course. And there's no team to start with other than the Chicago Bears. They were up 28-7. And then they weren't. And then they lost. Like Justin Fields, he torched the Broncos secondary in the first half. He torched it. Listen, the Broncos are a bad defense. Vance Joseph might be a bad defensive coordinator. He torched him in the first half. I think they locked in. Like, there was an important, strip sack for a touchdown that kind of changed the momentum behind this game. Like, this Bears defense isn't that good. They're actually the opposite of that. They are incredibly bad, and even worse, they're banged up, particularly in the secondary with Eddie Jackson. Jalen Johnson didn't play this game, Kyler Gordon, so they're just a bad team. They gotta sit here at the bottom, but they don't sit alone, as I also got the Carolina Panthers here. It's not gonna be pretty this year. The offense can't really get anything going. I don't think Bryce Young's been bad, but of course he's not been good either, but they're not really doing anything offensively to really help him. The offensive line's been pretty bad. Chandler Zavala should not be starting a game. Like, he looks every part of a rookie. And I bet you they can't wait till Austin Corbett comes back. Defensively, the Panthers keep their team in the game, but they just don't have enough juice or firepower on offense to really do anything. They really, really don't. One of their touchdowns in this was a 99-yard interception return, which I got a comment on that, by the way. Like, okay, cool. He had a 90, what was it? Sam Franklin had a 99-yard interception for a touchdown. But Deshaun Jameson out of Texas, rookie, UDFA. He gets to the 10-yard line as he's running back with his teammate. And he sees Kirk Cousins like, oh, this guy's going to try to make a play down the field. So he starts I think Sam Franklin's a good 10 yards ahead of him. He starts sprinting. He's probably the fastest guy on the field. Just to lay a hit. All of what? Well, I think the moment he saw it was at the 10-yard line for the Panthers. And he didn't lay the hit until about the 25-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. So we got 40. So 65 yards, this man covered it and just looked faster than anybody. It was phenomenal. Just trucked the heck out of poor Kirk Cousins. Who's next up here on the list? I have the Las Vegas Raiders. This was kind of a do-nothing game for them. They were starting rookie Aiden O'Connell. Not a good week to have rookies debut, apparently. And he looked every part of being a rookie. The defense was gritty, but really wasn't enough. Again, this game really, for me, in the larger scheme of things, didn't largely change my impression of what I think the Raiders are this season. I think they're a bottom of the league team. Yeah, there you are. Okay, we got the Denver Broncos, another AFC West team here. Defensively, this team stinks. They're not very good, but lost in all this is Russell Wilson's not playing bad football. He's really not. But when your defense is this bad and offensively it's like you kind of struggle to put up 20, yeah, you're not going to win very many games. The only thing I'd say here is put Marvin Mims on the field more. Only 17 snaps this game. He's their leading receiver through 4 weeks. And only 17 snaps this game. He's not even top 5 on the team in receptions. It's kind of weird. Before we get into the next team, I want to give a shout out to today's sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. If you sign up using promo code Broshmo at Underdog Fantasy, they will match your first deposit up to $100 dues, which means you deposit $100, you got $200 to play with. You deposit $50, you got $100 to play with. They got weekly best ball. You can do higher, lower on player prop bets. Matter of fact, we're going to do our predictions video a little bit later this week, and we talk about some of Gojo's favorite player prop bets of the week. This week, I think he missed just slightly on a couple. It was kind of a weird, turbulent week like that, but always fun. But as always, bet responsibly. I still got a couple of teams in this bottom of the league tier, and I got the Arizona Cardinals. Listen, this team has fought tooth and nail. They're a gritty team. Can't take that away from them. Josh Dobbs isn't playing bad football. Offensive line, honestly, not playing that bad either. Defensively, they're trying. They're trying. Like, they were down early 14-0 in the Niners, and they didn't really go away until late. And I mean, the Niners really didn't. Where they had like 2 late scores to really extend the lead there. Like, there was a minute where the Cardinals felt kind of in this ball game, and they're just playing hard for their coach. But ultimately, at the end of the day, this is a team that doesn't have a lot of talent in terms of the depth. There's just not a lot of good players on the roster, and I think as the year wears on, we're gonna see that. But they're playing really hard out here in the beginning of the season. Okay, number 27, it's the New York Football Giants. They be bad. They be bad. They be bad. They got annihilated. Honestly, it felt like they should have lost by more against the Seahawks. Thus far, through 2 home games, they've been beaten 64-3. Daniel Jones ain't it. This offensive line is terrible. And yeah, sure, they're not really giving him a chance, but he's not really doing well in spite of it. Right? Oh, the offensive line is not that good. Yeah, neither is CJ Stroud's. Which, we're going to jump up a tier to the could be, but unlikely. And I got to feature the Houston Texans. They are moving. They're creeping up my list. I don't know how sustainable this is for the Houston Texans. CJ Stroud's looking impressive as a rookie. But right now, that offensive line it's kind of thrown together because of injuries. Now, they will get guys getting healthier, like Laramie Tunsil, Titus Howard. Those will be welcome additions. But for the most part, I don't believe this is a talented enough team to be maybe a legit playoff contender, which I could be eating those words really easily. Because, I mean, this was a team that did just destroy the Jags the prior week. For one, though, I think this is a Jags team that's going to figure it out eventually. But the Texans have been impressive. I can't take anything away from that. If they keep winning, I'm going to have to keep moving them up. CJ Stroud, hella impressive. Will Anderson, hella impressive. Tank Dell, while wasn't as involved this week, he's been hella impressive. Nico Collins, big step up too. Great win against the Steelers this past week. They honestly, it's Bobby Sloak is just scheming things really well to kind of protect and hide the deficiencies they currently have on the offensive line. Next team up is actually a team that beat them a few weeks ago in the Indianapolis Colts. Colts are coming off a loss in overtime against the Rams. Have no idea how they kept it that close. Anthony Richardson, he's kind of a stud that way. The defense did start to lock down those Rams late. Unfortunately, they couldn't hold that going into overtime. But Anthony Richardson, I think he's a total correct pick, man. He is just a freaky athlete. You see week after week, just the big play potential from him. So good on them. Tough loss, but there were probably better days ahead here for the Colts. I'd like to say the same thing for this next team, the New York Jets. Get up there, Jets. There we go. So everyone's now probably like, oh, Zach Wilson good now? Listen, he had one good drive in this game. We can talk about that. I did the watch along with the Jets and the Chiefs. They were down early 17-0 with 3 minutes left in the first quarter. And then they got lucky on a face masking call on Juwan Taylor that the ref said, oh, he did that. He committed that in the end zone. Therefore, it's a safety, when really it was outside of the end zone. So they get 2 points. They get the ball back. They're able to score, make this a tight game. And then like it's 20-12 coming out of halftime. Zach Wilson's like, man, you're just like, oh, going into halftime, you're like, man, Zach Wilson's terrible. They need another quarterback. This guy just ain't it. And we come out of halftime, that opening drive, it's all of a sudden, is Zach Wilson good again? But realistically, that kind of was his best drive of the game. Because after that, you had the fumbled snap. Chiefs get the ball back, and the Jets never do. The Chiefs hold on to it for like 7.5 minutes. There was a lot of controversy at the end of that game with penalties going both ways. The PI call on Sauce, but all in all, man, I still don't know what to think of Zach Wilson. Like I still think he's the same Zach Wilson we know and love to hate, but we know what he's capable of. Can he do that on a consistent basis within a game? So it's hard to it's hard to stack the Jets high, especially given how great their defense is. Next is New England Patriots, man. I probably would have dropped them below the Jets if not for them beating the Jets barely. But like Mac Jones has looked, after an impressive week 1, he has been bad week in, week out. Like, okay, he was fair against the Dolphins, but this past week, pick 6, a fumble 6, led to like, he was horrible. He's putting the balls in harm's way. Now they're maybe without Matthew Judon for an extended time. The tackle position sucks. Patriots, they're in trouble. They're trouble. They're actually my biggest fallers on my list this week. Next, I got the Washington Commanders. They actually had an impressive outing here against the Philadelphia Eagles, where they pushed them to overtime. And this is the thing. Bad Sam Howell is cataclysmic. Bunch of turnovers that lead to touchdowns. Good Sam Howell, I think, could contend with the best of them. And we saw good Sam Howell against the Philadelphia Eagles. I just wish, if you could take those oh, when you're terrible, you're horrible. If you could just reel that back to manageable, then yeah, you might have a decent quarterback here. The defense was all right. They did what they could. Emmanuel Forbes got eaten up by A.J. Brown, but A.J. Brown tends to do that. But I feel like I want to say the Commanders are on the up and up, but just wait. We might get another one of those just cataclysmic Sam Howell games. Right after the Commanders here, I have the Minnesota Vikings. Hey, congrats. They got their first win of the season and probably Kirk Cousins' worst game of the season. He had the pick 6. Kind of mentioned that earlier. But they were able to do enough to get the win here. They got, I think Marcus Davenport was back for the first time this season, or played for the first time this season. He was solid. What does that mean for the defense going forward? I don't know. Maybe they can be at least an average defense. We'll see. But Vikings, I definitely think they're better than their record right now. Next, I got the Los Angeles Rams. I'm buying into them slowly but surely. But still, this defense is Aaron Donald and friends. Maybe friend Aaron Young, kind of playing big there. But offensively, despite the poor play of the offensive line, Joe Napoom, he's bad. Matthew Stafford's playing good football. Kyron Williams is playing good football. These receivers are playing good football, and the offense is able to function. They're and I think I said this in my deep dive, even though I had them ranked really low. I was like, honestly, this offense could surprise us. And I wasn't even expecting Puka Nacua. I'm just thinking Cooper Kupp, Tyler Higbee. I was like, hey, this offense could be better than expected and keep them in games. Maybe even win some games for them this season. This definitely exceeds my expectations. Puka Nacua, man, just been hella good. Right in front of them, I got the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh, right here. I think I got him in the could be but unlikely section here. And I think that's fair. Kenny Pickett sounds like he's going to miss some time, but he's not been playing well either. I think this season he's the worst quarterback when throwing the football along the sideline, like outside of the hash. Not great, but to be fair, the uninspired play calling by Matt Canada ain't doing him any favors. The offensive line is bad. It's when this offense can't do anything, it just puts too much pressure on the defense. Patrick Peterson had a rough day at the office today against Nico Collins, so it's like, yeah, no, even with the Bengals struggling, I look at the Steelers and I feel comfortably saying, yeah, no, you're probably the worst team in the AFC North. Yeah, unfortunate. All right, moving on to this playoff contender tier. There's actually quite a few teams I have in here. We're gonna start with two here. I got the Saints and the Falcons. I actually got the Falcons right behind the Saints at 18. I got the Saints at 17. I actually had both these teams at the same spot last week, and just feel like they are who we think they are. Desmond Ritter's bad, and like if Falcons can't run the football, then they're in trouble. Derek Carr is, even with the AC joint, he hasn't been playing really good football this season. And if the best he can do on a bumped shoulder is check down the ball a ton of times to Alvin Kamara for like 2 yards, yeah, no, you're going to put a lot of pressure on the defense. And it just sucks. I just slightly think the Saints, they have the better defense. I'm worried, and I'd rather put my trust in Derek Carr than Desmond Ridder. That's why I have the Saints ahead of them right here, but I think they're in very similar boats, unfortunately. Next team up here is the Tennessee Titans. This is a different team at home than they are on the road. Ryan Tannehill's so much better at home than he is on the road. I don't know what the deal is with that, but Derrick Henry finally kind of broke out this week. Had his biggest game of the season, and they just mollywopped the stinking Bengals. So yeah, I'm finally moving this team back up into the playoff contender. I think they moved up 5 spots in my initial rankings, which you'll see that with all the moving stuff at the end of the video. But yeah, and also what's this cat's name? Is it Jack Gideon? I don't know, the linebacker who I thought this guy was going to actually be Monty Rice who emerges, but this cat coming out of nowhere, really. I haven't really watched much of him ever. Not even when he was a draft prospect, apparently like 2 or 3 years ago. Coming out of nowhere and having a really good season. The team next here at 15 is the Green Bay Packers. And I mean, all these teams are kind of muddied together in this playoff contender tier. David Bakhtiari not being back for the rest of the season is going to be a problem. They need to get Jenkins back ASAP because Jordan Love can't face that much pressure. To be fair, Jordan Love, even though that team was in a bad hole against Detroit, they were climbing their way out of it. And then a dumb penalty by Quay Walker just cost them. Like, you can't get a running start and jump over the center, and yet you do it anyway. And it leads to more time coming off the clock, and instead of being down by 1 score, you're down by 2 scores. It cost them the game. But like that team was in a place where, even though they weren't playing well in comparison to the Lions, they had opportunities to win that game. Obviously, Joe Barry's still a problem for the defense, but the defense has got a lot of stars. They should get Jair Alexander back relatively soon, this week if not next. So I'm gonna keep them in this playoff contender tier. This next team is my biggest mover of the week in terms of up, and it is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I moved them up 6 spots. It's the biggest plus mover this week. I think like Baker, I'm not saying he's like playing elite or playing like top 12, but he's a top half of I would put him in the top half of the league right now. He's playing good football. Like, he's making plays for this squad. I mean, a lot of what he's doing being like is courtesy of the playmakers he has, but he's going out there making plays because he knows his defense is going to keep him in this ball game. Right. for however long he wants. That's a really good, excuse me. Trying to talk through a burp right there. It didn't really sound right. But he's got a really good defense there that's going to keep him in ball games. And Baker, once he gets going, once he starts playing with that swag, then like, yeah, watch out. Watch out. The offensive line played much better this week. And yeah, they kind of look like the best team in the NFC South right now. Okay, got the Cleveland Browns. Listen, this was a do-nothing game. DTR had to start, rookie debut. Talked about Aiden O'Connell's. His didn't look any better. It was pretty bad. They couldn't get the offense moving. It gave the Ravens a lot of short fields, and the Ravens were able to turn those into touchdowns. The defense was on the field for so long, like it's not even an indictment of the defense. For me, I look at this game and it's like, yeah, this is, you could crumple it up and throw it away. There's not much to talk about there. John Watson, when he gets back healthy, okay, yeah, let's talk about this team. But this is one of the best defenses in the league, and we're still trying to figure out what type of quarterback is Deshaun Watson. Is he a good quarterback or is he a quarterback? Next, I got the Cincinnati Bengals. I want to drop this team further, but I just can't. Because I don't know what's going to go on with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow can't keep up like this. His average depth of target is 5.8 on the season. He was 4.8 on the season, 4.8 yards per attempt. His average in this game was 4.5. That's terrible. T. Higgins wasn't playing good football. Now he's got the fractured ribs. His offense can't move. They're stagnant. Joe Burrow just can't play on this calf injury, apparently. Like, he's doing the best that he can, but that ain't going so much. Maybe you have to shut him down for a little bit till he gets healthy. Throw him on IR. Give him 4 weeks. But by then, you're probably out of the playoffs. I don't know if Browning or McCarron's going to come in and get you wins to keep you in this very competitive AFC conference. But, I mean, do you just try to run Joe Burrow into the ground? Like, the Bengals are in a tough position. They are. And whenever, as long as Joe Burrow's in there, I'm not going to bet against them. I might just not bet for him. I don't know. It's really hard. I think as they just keep losing games, I'm just going to keep trickling them down further and further, man. It's kind of rough to watch. All right, the final team I have in this tier is the Superchargers. Listen, they're going into a bye. They're gonna get Austin Eckler back healthy. Hopefully, whatever happened to Justin Herbert's finger, hopefully that heals within that time frame. I don't know if it's like a broken finger or something, but it's not on his thrown hand, so there's a little bit of relief there. But this is an offense that still could put up a lot of points. The defense finally decided to show up against a rookie quarterback. I don't know if that's going to be consistent at all. Maybe they go back after their bye just looking a mess. I don't know. Maybe they figure things out. But I don't know, it's kind of hard to bet against that offense. You look at this tier right here, you got questions about almost all these teams. Maybe outside of the Bucks. I'm about to put the Bucks in this playoff tier. I really am. I really, really am. Well, let's just go ahead and move to playoff teams. Teams that I'm like, yeah, they are playoff teams. And the Jags, excuse me. I like to think that they are. And I think, next week they're going to get a real litmus test because I believe they take on the Bills, correct? Let's check out the Bills schedule. Check out the Jaguars schedule. Yeah. So they take on the Jaguars next week in London, which is essentially a home game for Jacksonville. That's going to be the litmus test. Can this team turn the corner and actually contend with these playoff teams? Can this defense consistently get pressure outside of Josh Allen? Can guys step up? I don't know. We'll see, but they had a good game against the Atlanta Falcons. Hopefully things can, honestly, this was a much better game. This was a step in the right direction for the Jags, but I need to see more of it against a truly Super Bowl contender here in the Buffalo Bills. All right, next up here is the Detroit Lions. They handled business in Lambeau. Kind of talked about that. The pass rush was getting home. Lee McNeil, Aiden Hutchinson, they looked like monsters. They created turnovers. The offense looked unstoppable now with a healthy David Montgomery back. Not much to say here. Like, business as usual. They look like the best team in the NFC North. And just right above them, I have the Seattle Seahawks. I was tempted to put the Seahawks ahead of the Detroit Lions, but the Seahawks do have a win against Detroit this season, and I believe that was in Detroit. Granted, it was in overtime, okay. But the Seahawks are truly a really good team. Their defense is starting to come together nicely. They're getting a lot of pressure. Though, the last 2 weeks, they have faced not good offensive lines. So, maybe not the best litmus test or standard to judge by, but the defense is playing good football. Offensively, they're playing good football in spite of their whole offensive line being hurt. Like they legitimately had 4 new starters out there, and like Jack Curran, you had a Stone Forsythe. They had a couple of rookies in Olusegun Oluwaratimi and Anthony Bradford. And they still beat the pants off the Giants in the trenches. So, Seahawks, they're a good squad. And then I got 2 other teams in this tier. I got Baltimore Ravens here. And a big reason, probably why I don't have them in Super Bowl contenders, is just this team is so hurt. They're so beat up, and I'm scared. I'm scared for them. So, they're able to come in and produce week after week. But last year, we saw it all catch up with them. And I don't know, man. That's the only thing really stopping me. Like, the offense ran really well. Defense played a rookie quarterback, but hey, they did their thing. They've created turnovers, made his life a living hell. They looked really good this week. They're a really good team. But, man, those injuries do concern me. And then next, I have the Dallas Cowboys. They honestly should be in the Super Bowl contender tier for me. They should be. But we know their track record in the playoffs. And we know that they can have the occasional stinker, as we saw with the Arizona Cardinals game. But when everything's hitting on all cylinders, man, this team can beat the pants on anybody. The Giants, the Jets, the Patriots. Maybe those aren't fair teams to compare to because they're all on the lower end of the spectrum here, as you can see. You know, Jets, Patriots, Giants, but you can also make the case for the Cardinals. But, I mean, they got the firepower. The defense is scary. I don't know, man. I want to put them in the Super Bowl tier. I'm just hesitant. Next on the list, I got my Miami Dolphins. They took a tough loss. It was in Buffalo. Yeah, they beat the pants off of us. It is what it is. Our offensive line was really beat up. Connor Williams was out. Liam Eichenberg played center this game, and he was terrible. Terran Armstrong got hurt in the game, and Kendall Lamb came in and didn't look nearly as good as he has been earlier this season when he was replacing Armstead. The defense had problems. Josh Allen had a big game on us. We couldn't stop Stephon Diggs. I don't know why Cater Coho was playing on the outside. He's done that the last 2 games, and he's not good on the outside. He's just a better slot player. He should play there. But, hey, bad week. There'll be better weeks to come. They got us here. We'll see them in Miami later in the season. Which now my next team is actually the Buffalo Bills. Golly, they looked good. They needed this win. I mean, think about it. They should be undefeated if Josh Allen did just have an abysmal game against the Zach Wilson-led New York Jets. Like, it was truly a horrible game. But since then, he's looked good. Beat the snot out of the Raiders and the Commanders, and come up against the Dolphins, who are a really good team. Beat the pants off of us. The Bills, they're looking good. They're looking good. Next, I got the Philadelphia Eagles. They keep looking less good, man. The defense gave up some yards to Sam Howell there. I mean, they were getting pressure, man, but man, the defense just every now and then, man, like there was that late surge against like late surge by the Vikings with Kirk Cousins, and now this, like, it's kind of scary. But the offense was looking finely tuned. I loved it. Jalen Hurts looked really good in this game. They had Cam Jurgen got hurt, and was it Seth Opeta? Or you can correct me in the comment section. But he stepped in and had a really good game. But yeah, Eagles, they're one of the best teams in the league. Kansas City Chiefs, another team that didn't have the prettiest win. Patrick Mahomes may have had his worst game ever. Like, he was throwing touch passes out there that were completely off target and straight to the defense. But the defense held up, made plays when they needed to. They won the game. Patrick Mahomes is going to have much better games. This is literally the worst, one of the worst games, I think, in recent memory from Patrick Mahomes. And they won it on the road. I imagine Patrick's going to be better moving forward. And then y'all already know, man, this is San Francisco 49ers. It's kind of a no-brainer. This team is playing like a finely tuned machine. Just, wow. Defense, terrifying. Offensive line, they held up well, but to be fair, like the Cardinals, it's not like they have the craziest pass rushers, so. But Brandon Ayuk's a star. Christian McCaffrey's been a star. Brock Purdy's just got to be like, yeah, I'm just going to be mistake-free. I'm going to get to the bottom of my playmakers. Basically play on easy mode. The Niners now have, 30 points in every game this season? The defense, they're hard to put points up against. So, yeah, the Niners, they're just that good. But that's it for the video. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Where do you think I got it wrong? Where do you think I got it right? Again, kind of with these middle teams, it was really hard to shuffle where they need to be. And I feel like in the next couple of weeks, things are going to start. We're going to get a good read of where teams are truly heading. And then I'll truly drop or truly rise some teams. But I don't know. We'll see. That's it for the video. Do the YouTube thing. But as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.